Hey y'all, my name is Nate. I am a sales agency owner at PhoneSales.com. And essentially, what I want to do today is I want to walk you through my journey of closing to owning a sales agency. And I want to be as transparent as possible and kind of show you the realizations that I made along the way. Now, if this is your first time watching and you don't know who PhoneSales is, we've essentially ran a sales agency for the last 5 years. We've done $70 million in client revenue for over 112 clients. And now we are essentially helping people start their own sales agency utilizing our infrastructure. So boom, without further ado, let's get into the story. Now, I had been closing for like 6 years, right? So I had, for the most part, been closing on colder accounts where people were like cold texting, cold calling, because I realized on those accounts, when they were doing like 60 to 100K a month, I could come in, get like a 20 to 25% close rate and like kind of very easily make a good amount of money, like 10, 15K a month, right? So I had been doing that, and my whole goal in terms of making more money, getting to like 20, 25, 30, 50K a month was shadows and skills, right? JD Daly actually spoke about this, which at the time, it blew my mind, which was I had been in the shadows, not really working on my brand, not really posting too much, just working on my skills, right? Because in my brain, I'm like, okay, if I get really good, if I improve my skills, then I'll make more money. And that is true. That is absolutely true, right? And so that was kind of like my journey of trying to get to 30, 50K a month. I had always seen my career closing. I was like, I'll probably just do this forever, and then I'll make some money and invest. And eventually when my investments kick up and I have an asset that's producing me income and I can get out of this, then I'll do it then. But like, I had never really thought about, well, what am I going to do after this? It was like, I'm going to do closing, right? So that's when I guess you can say luck kind of struck me, right? I believe you create your own luck, right? I believe that you are consistent and you're prepared long enough, and you happen to be in the way at a certain time, right? So basically, what I mean by lucky is I was working on 2 accounts at the time, and basically one of the partners at PhoneSales came to me and was like, "Yo, I have too many accounts. I can't take this. It looks like this deal's not going to go through. Um, do you want me to like send it over to you?" And I was like I was genuinely, I was like nervous because, well, first of all, like I have bills. So I knew, even though closing is commission only, I knew that I was going to make that income regardless. That didn't matter. I knew that I could, like consistently have this lifestyle. So I was nervous about it. And also, like, I had been a team lead in the past, built systems, helped people, like train people, even helped recruit. But I had never like ran the whole ship. So there was an element of like fear of imposter syndrome, or like, I don't know if I can do this because I don't know if I have this skill set. Like, I was never trained on it. You know, I had just closed. I just closed, and I tried to add value as much as I could throughout all of those interactions, right? So where I was, and Alex Ramosi talks about this too, I think this is a very interesting kind of cycle, is here, right? So I had kind of been excited, gotten into it, right? Then realized all the bad stuff about it. Had my like, oh, this is all terrible little, pity party. And then I got to the point where I like kind of knew everything about it, and I was optimistic. I was like, I'll just improve my skills. I'll improve my skills, get on better accounts, I'll make more money, right? So I was content with this at this point. But when I really thought about it, right, despite the imposter syndrome, despite like me not knowing, I was like, okay, so I'll do this till I'm 50 if I'm good, right? And then maybe I'll have the assets that I need, and I can like live my own life. Because like, I'm not just a single bachelor. Like, I have a family, right? So I can't just, like I have to be more calculated is what I'm trying to say. So I was like, do I want to do this till I'm 50? Do I want to take the same calls every day? And, have someone train me on something that, honestly, I kind of feel like I understand better than you because I'm taking these calls every day. And make 100, 200K for a company in a month and get like a fraction. And I started to realize all these things, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want that. Like, it's cool now, but when I'm 35, I don't want to, and no knock. If you're 35, no problem, and you're doing closing, like, that's not a knock to you. That's just like, I've been doing this 5 years. Do I want to do this 15 years? The same thing every day? And I decided no. So I was like, all right, bro, send over the account. Now, I had no experience. So basically, when I came onto the account, I spoke to the owner and I was like, yo, like, let me come in, let me show you what I can do, and then let's talk. So essentially, this came from PhoneSales, and I came in, got meetings on my calendar. Literally the first 2 bookings they showed, I closed both of those deals back to back. One of them was like a 70-year-old dude on like a financing deal, right? The owner was like, holy shit. I was like, yeah, I was just very sharp at this time because I was focused and committed on skills, right? And so then I got bumped into management. The account was doing around 60K a month from what I was seeing on the trackers at that time, like 58K, 57K. And then within 2 months, we took it to 1.1 million in revenue and $600,000 in cash collected, which was a game changer for me. Like, I doubled my income. I went from like 15 to 30, right, within 2 months. My first month, I didn't make 30, I made like 12. But like, I immediately went from closing to making money my first month to progressively making more and more and more on that account. And so what that led to was actually a partnership at PhoneSales, because I was like, okay, well, like, I'm doing good here, I'm crushing it. And then basically PhoneSales, one of the partners, approached me and they were like, yeah, we think you'd be good at this. So, I had decided to make that decision, partner up with PhoneSales, and then I had managed 6 accounts. Things went well, and then they were like, yo, you're a good operator. And so they made me a co-founder at PhoneSales Agency, which is what we're talking about here, right? Essentially helping people start their own sales agency. Now, the question that I have for you, regardless if you're interested in working with us, regardless, I want you to ask yourself, because if you've been watching this up until this point, you're definitely a top performing closer. Like, you've walked the walk, you've proven yourself multiple times. I want you to ask yourself, and either question is okay, do you want to close forever? And if the answer is yes, if you want to close until you're 50 or 60 years old and you're completely happy with that lifestyle, with the chase, with, like taking the 6 to 8, 12 calls every day, amazing. Like, happy for you, bro. Like, that's amazing. If not, then the other routes that people will typically go is either starting their own sales training agency or business, getting into recruitment, CSM, sales agency, which when you hear like management, business, CRO, growth operator, it's all the same shit. You're running their sales department, sometimes their marketing department, right? But for sales agency, it's just their sales department. And then like starting your own business in an outside industry. And so obviously, like, if you want to go one of these routes, amazing, run. I'm glad that this fucking helped you, right? But if you want to start a sales agency, then what I would recommend is checking out the infrastructure that we've built. Essentially, what we're helping people do now is white label everything that we've ever packaged, right? Our systems are your systems, and then you can either come in as a partner or you can come in underneath your own brand and your own identity. That's totally up to you, kind of what you decide. But if you're interested in that, there will be a link below where you can check it out. There will be a video from one of our other partners, Malik, who kind of breaks down everything. And then you can decide to book a call with me and we can see mutually if it's a gel, because it's like a ongoing mentorship. So we want to make sure that there would be a fit, that we could kind of work together on a day-to-day basis. Either way, I hope that my story provides a little bit of context, because where I was, and the reason ultimately that I want to make this video, my intention is I was here and I was probably always going to be here unless I had that luck from one of the partners hitting me up, or I had that realization, which a simple video could be a realization. It could be realization enough to answer this question and say no and get into recruitment. And that's fucking amazing. But like, ask yourself, do you want to do this forever? And realize that the skills that you've built over the years, you can jump into any of these industries. You just have to make a decision to change. And you have to realize that there can be more for you, right? So either way, hope this helps y'all. Hope you have a blessed day. And I will talk to you soon. Ciao for now. Peace.